Welcome back to Talk of the Town on WHTC, Holland's Cool FM, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone. Once again, here's your host, Gary Stevens.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Monday, August the 10th. And it is the second Monday of the month, which means we catch up with things going on in Lansing with a member of the Lakeshore's legislative delegation. She is Republican State House Representative Nancy DeBoer. District 86 is what she represents. She's on the other end of our phone line this morning. Good morning, Nancy. Hope all is well.
Good morning, Gary. Yes, sirree. I'm in sunny Lansing today.
Well, it might be sunny for now, but hopefully the storms will stay away. If you have a question for the representative, 616-395-1450. Let's get the political stuff out of the way. Girding up for what some might say is a very competitive November 3rd general election for you, trying to retain your seat against the Democratic challenger, Joseph McCluskey.
Yep, we're working very hard to tell the story of all the great things that we've been working to accomplish for the kids of Michigan. We're really trying to help with literacy, and I was very excited that the governor signed the bill on June 21st, that all the rest of the teachers will be trained in the science of reading, so kids will learn to read with phonics. And that has just been a real missing link in the education process for quite a few years statewide. And so this will be a transformational change for the classroom and for students across Michigan. And also she signed House Bill 5646, which my colleague Tim Kelly sponsored, that the colleges and universities will be the professors will need to be preparing future teachers in the correct way to teach reading with phonics, and the state superintendent is charged with working over that so that a pre-service teacher won't be certified in the state of Michigan to teach K-5 until they understand how to teach reading correctly. It's very interesting. This weekend at a funeral, I ran into a woman and I was talking about the literacy issue, and she said, I never got phonics when I started learning how to read, and I cannot get it now. It's like you have to learn that at a certain stage in your life. And she said, the only thing that saves me now, she says, is that little button on the computer where you can push it, and then I can hear how to pronounce some words, or else I have to ask my husband. She says, I'm 81 years old, and I never learned phonics. And I was going door to door, and I ran into a guy there, and he said, oh, yeah. He said, that's my wife. 1 year they didn't do phonics, and that's the year she happened to be at that school, and now it's been hard her whole life. And so it's really such an amazing opportunity that we could have working with both sides of the aisle, and the state superintendent, the Democratic committees and members, and all of us leaning in together, because children are so much more important than political parties, and we really wanted to make a difference for these kids. And so I was very excited that the governor signed that all with the budget on June 21st. And we have money in there for the training for the other 44,000 teachers that need that training, and also to train the college professors that will need to be teaching future teachers. And so we're very excited about that. And we have much more work to do in education. It has been such an honor for me to serve the state and its children and families by chairing this education committee. And I've been so excited with all the different people that have leaned in and are willing to make a difference for kids today. So I am very honored to serve and to help to represent this community. So it's been great.
Let me ask you, as the chair of the House Education and Workforce Committee. I don't know whether or not this has been broached in your discussion with education leaders, but there seems to be a perception that we have a bubble in education, and that bubble stems from the losses we had due to the COVID outbreak of 6 years ago, when kids couldn't be in the classroom, when it was virtual learning, and we took some steps back generally in education. I equate it to like a bubble, where it's a bubble of the lack of learning, the lack of proper education, and it has moved forward in the 6 years since we've had that. Do you get a sense that educational leaders are still having to sort of deal with this because we didn't have kids in the classroom for about 6 months to almost a year, and the masks and everything, it just seems as if we're still playing catch up?
Yeah, I do think that took its toll, and we won't be able to count all the losses exactly. It was historic. It never happened before. And so we don't really know all the long-term problems that all of that created for children, and various very important steps in their learning. I know my daughter was trying to teach Spanish through all of that, and you can't watch somebody's mouth and how to pronounce words when you have a mask over your mouth. And there's just so many different things, and it was very, very hard for children to stay focused on a screen all the time, and kids would be crying and running off, and it was just a very difficult time for everyone. And as with anything that goes wrong in society, children pay the highest price because we are affecting them at a very young age, and the trajectory for problems that develop at young ages is wide in their lives. And so that's why it's so important that we shore up and redirect and help the teachers. Every teacher that I have talked to that has been a part of this training on how to teach the science of reading comes out so energized about teaching and about the mechanics of teaching. I think they've really landed on something that helps the teacher understand how the student learns and how to connect them. First of all, to diagnose where they're going off, and then what to prescribe to help them get into the reading rhythm. And they are just so excited about how effective this has been with kids. And so I really think it's going to help in so many ways with kids that have not been able to learn how to read because of COVID or because of just methods that didn't work for them, and an inability to connect with each student. I do think tutoring is super important at every stage, and I believe that we have some money in the budget for hiring tutors that may not even be in the actual school system. I'm not 100% sure on that. I wasn't on appropriations this time, but it's worth a question to see whether other tutors are possible. That was one of the things we wanted to include because the teachers themselves get pretty tired teaching all day, and everything else they're trying to juggle. For them to also be the tutors is a kind of a high expectation of them. And if they want to, great, but maybe they can't. And so maybe there's someone else that can help kids too, because I think tutoring is really helpful, especially those that have gone through this science of reading training will really, really help the kids.
We're talking with State House Representative Nancy DeBoer, District 86. If you have a question for the Holland Republican, 616-395-1450. We're staying on the education topic for a few more moments here. As we have, obviously, you've been concerned most recently with addressing reading challenges and getting kids to be able to read better. Does that come, and I don't want to sound like a curmudgeon here, but does that come with perhaps not as much emphasis, or perhaps not as spotlighted emphasis, on some of the other necessities of education, most notably mathematics, and getting kids to deal with the mathematics and the sciences. We're focusing on reading, and hopefully we're not sacrificing math and science because of that.
Well, no, I think as time has gone by, the reading scores started the downward trajectory, and then we added math scores. So it seems as though we talk about up to third grade, you want to learn to read, and then after third grade, you read to learn. And so it seems that not being able to read also affects your ability to do math. Because right now we have 76% of the eighth graders not competent in both reading and math. And so, shoring up reading is not neglecting math. And there is this great way to teach reading. We have not landed yet on the very best way to teach math. There is not a system that's been developed that's as clear and proven effective in math as has been found for reading. But we have the reading, so we're going to start there. And I do think that is going to bring up, help the math scores as well, just because students will be engaged and they can learn. They can't learn for the whole time they're there if they don't catch on to reading. So that is really pivotal, and it's going to affect whether they want to come to school, whether they can stay in school, whether they're motivated in the classroom, whether they feel hope for themselves and a future career. All of that is centered in reading and the ability to learn more on your own. I compare it to, in Michigan, we're known for our car manufacturing. We love the freedom of being able to drive, and you can go wherever you want to go, stay as long as you want to stay, pause wherever you want to pause, and go back to where you want to go back to, because you can drive yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody else. You don't have to find some other way. And that's what it is with reading. When a student discovers the freedom of reading, they know that if they see a book and it's something they like to learn about, they can pick it up and learn more about it, and it makes them so excited to learn more and motivated to do well in what they're already passionate about. And that's what we want, to create that freedom for every student that comes to school now, that they can sense that and be excited about learning for their whole lives. It's no longer something they have to act like they can do, and they're afraid that somebody's going to find them out. I mean, right now I think we have grandparents and parents and students that can't read for the amount of time that this whole language method has hurt kids. So I'm just very, very excited for the potential of this, and we're going to keep working on helping kids get to school and get engaged in learning as much as we can. We have a meeting scheduled with the state superintendent, and we're working on scheduling one with the Outdoor Discovery Center and the new things that they have been exploring. We want to figure out how we can help measure soft skills, because it's really important that a future worker not only knows the mechanics of what they're going to do, not only the competency of it, but also the soft skills of being able to work with other people, being a team player, the critical analysis of materials, and all of that we need to have with our future workforce and with our future families. And so that is also a very exciting potential. We had my staff and I had a great meeting with Travis Williams and his people, and it's very synergistic, the things that are going on. We're also working with the Innovative School Districts, which is a group of close to 100, 86, 90 different districts that have been meeting and exchanging creative ideas. And all of that is starting to lean the same direction. And so I think there's trending for how to better measure what kids are learning and how we can inspire them for future development and jobs that fit them and a career that excites them and a way that they can help solve what the world needs. I also wanted to get to Treasury problems. Is that okay, Gary? If I
you may certainly do, because I know that they've been talking about trying to. They being the Treasury Department, saying that they've gotten many of those bugs out of the way, because people weren't getting their returns, or they were getting statements saying they owe X amount, and the Treasury is saying we've ironed out the problems, but other people are saying no, you haven't.
Yeah, well, according to what's happening in our office, they haven't yet. There seem to be continuing problems. Some of them are being resolved, and we've submitted problems that people have had. So that's a great sign. But for every case that resolved, we are starting to get like 20 new that still need some resolution, and most of them now, the most common one is that people are missing their income tax refunds from the state. And I think, people submit it and they think, well, it's going to be coming. I don't know. But by the time they start getting toward the end of summer and school is coming, and they're like, what? Wait a minute, we didn't get that refund. And so they've been emailing our office, which is the most effective thing you can do, because people are telling us that the Treasury is pretty much unreachable by phone or email. They get on hold for an hour and then it clicks off, or they never get anything. So it's best if they can email our office. And that's it, Nancy DeBoer at house.mi.gov. Nancy DeBoer, the full name, no spaces, at house.mi.gov. And the state treasury asked for 5 shared secrets, they call it. So for us to send in a legislative inquiry, that's what we need to submit. So if you send us an email that you're having trouble with Treasury, tell us what your issue is, and then we'll send you those the 5 shared secrets, and you can let us know the specifics, and then we will submit that on your behalf to the Treasury, and we'll try to get that solved for you. So that seems to be the most effective way to get it done right now, because there's a lot of problems, and I'm not exactly sure, but there's whatever they're saying, it seems like people are starting to realize maybe that they didn't get a refund, and then they need help. So we would love to help you. We just got to know who you are and what you need. We'll be ready to do that.
Nancy, is it more refund issues, or are we also seeing perhaps an increase in, say, wrong billing? And where people are getting notices saying you owe this, and like, wait a minute, I don't owe this. It becomes a question.
Yes, we've had that too, where they've already paid, and then they say, no, you haven't paid, and then they start to fine them, and then they charge interest on the fine, and it's a terrible problem. So the Treasury is not under the supervision of the legislature. It is under the executive branch. So it's the governor is the person over Treasury. So we don't have an enforcement authority, but we can submit on your behalf, and it has been effective for some people. So we would love to do that on your behalf. And if you would like to take up an issue overall with Treasury, that would land at the governor's office. That's how that.
I know a few years ago there was tying in with the time we had the COVID issues. We had issues with unemployment and people filing up. Has that been smoothed out a little bit, or is it still some tough waters there?
I think that's going better. It's certainly not like it was before I came on. I heard real horror stories of everybody's issues with unemployment, and my staff has not been bringing that up with me recently. So I think Treasury is the issue du jour.
Okay, I just didn't know whether or not the unemployment thing is still straggling. Maybe they got their act together over there. We shall see. Right now,
if people have problems with that too, please just submit to our office, and we have experience. My staff has a lot of experience in helping with that issue too. They were both there before I came, and they know what they're doing, so they can really help you. I also wanted to put in a little plug for the Civil War muster. There is a new development this year. We are getting the Freedom Truck 250, which is a part of the celebration of the nation's 250th. And so they launched 6 mobile museums. They're 18-wheelers that are traveling across the United States through 2026 to celebrate America's 250th. And the trucks have interactive, free historical exhibits. And they're AI-powered, talking about George Washington with his portrait, a digital Declaration of Independence signing kiosk, and a wall of American heroes. It's like an 18-wheeler that opens up to become kind of a museum that will host like 50 people at a time, and it's going to be parked along 16th Street during the Civil War muster, which this year is going to be the usual weekend they've been doing it. This is the 17th year now, the September 18 through 20, so mark that on your calendar. The 18th is when kids come from fifth graders come from all over the area, and they're signing up from Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, everywhere. It's a huge amount of kids that are coming this year for this. And that Friday is all of that, of kids coming and learning about the Civil War. They have tents showing them how they handled medicine back then, and showing them where the kind of camp they would have as they walk around Vinralty Farm. They reenact battles, and it's very real for the kids in understanding what the Civil War was about and what we fought for equal rights for our Black brothers and sisters. So it's a great experience for them. It really makes it real. It's not like looking at an iPad, and they will love it so much. Whatever kids come are just very engaged. And then Saturday and Sunday is open to the public, and so that will be great. It's a free admission, and there are all kinds of reenactors they are bringing in, because it's going to be the first year ever that we've done Revolutionary War and Civil War together because of this 250th anniversary. And so we've been doing it for the last 16 years with just the Civil War battle reenactments and bringing in the interpreters. And this year we are going to have Lincoln and his wife. We'll have Harriet Tubman coming in, General Lee. I think we're getting a George Washington, and Martha is coming in, and these people will all be in their period costumes. We'll be having George Washington giving his inaugural speech. Lincoln is going to give his second inaugural speech, I think, at one of the battles. There's just umpteen things planned for it. And people would want to look up Holland Civil War Muster.com to see all the different things that are planned. But it's all on our 160-acre property with the home of a former Civil War veteran, the son of our founder, Ben Vinralty, and his wife, Julia, when he came back home from the Civil War. And they built their home there, and the barns from the 1840s, 1860s. And so it's amazing. Yep. What opportunity right in the middle of Highland.
All right. Sounds good. And as always, Nancy DeBoer, thank you very much for the time. We will be talking to the State House representative next month if all goes well. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Gary. Have a great day.
You've been listening to Talk of the Town on WHTC Holland's Cool FM. on WHTC.com and on the WHTC app for your smartphone.
We want to thank Chef Terry Tucker of Freedom Village, along with State House Representative Nancy DeBoer, for joining us today on Talk of the Town. The segments have been or will be uploaded to our webpage at WHTC.com in the podcast tab under Talk of the Town. Listen or download at your convenience for free. Thanks to Brian Spencer, What's New Around Holland. Most importantly, thanks to all of you for listening and being a part of our program today. Tomorrow on WHTC's Talk of the Town, update from Holland Museum, an update from Community Action of Allegan County with Lisa Evans and Alyssa Simons. Following the NBC News with Michael Kastner, it will be Lindsay Lawrence's Evergreen Commons Report. For Brian Spencer, I'm Gary Stevens. Thanks for listening to Talk of the Town. Have a good day, and if all goes well, we'll do this all again tomorrow.